Okay. Okay. Uh, ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ. ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಓಕೆ. PPT ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಉಂಟಾ? ಓಕೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಓಕೆ. ನೀನು ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀನು ಯೂಸರ್. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಎರಡು ಕಾಣ್ಬೋದು. ಒಂದು ನನ್ನ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ, ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್. ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಉಂಟಾ? ಏಯ್, ಸುನೀಲ್ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಉಂಟಾ? ಶಶಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು. ಬಂತಾ? ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀ ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ನೀ ರೀಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ. ಹೌದು. ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಹಿಟ್ ಆನ್ ದ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ. So yeah, good evening everyone. So this is a basic introduction to income tax system in India, and this is basically I call it primer. This is for anyone who is beginning or who is in 4 to 5 years of experience in the working class, who has no idea of what an income tax is and what one can do to reduce his income tax. Okay. So let's look at the agenda for the discussion. So first, I'll start with what is the motivation for this presentation here, and then we will move on to what is income tax and how to calculate income tax. And mostly you might have heard of two things from the last budget. So old tax regime and new tax regime, and we will see what they are and what which is beneficial for us. We'll further look at the timelines for this financial year, the declaration, the proof submission, and return filing, things like that. And later we will look at this is the main part of the presentation, that is how to save uh, tax. Okay, that's the heart of this discussion. Then we will look at two bonus items. There is an XLS which I got from the internet, using which you can calculate your own income tax. Okay. And last one, a single slide on a brief note on personal finance. This is based on the book which I was speaking about from last 1 month. Okay, Master Your Money, Master Your Life. So one central piece of the book, that is bonus number two. Okay, so we'll start with what is the motivation for this. Okay. So basically, if you look at the current working class, right, people like us, so we have least knowledge on the taxation and finance, because it is neither uh, taught to us in our college, nor are we taught on this topic in our companies. So mostly whatever taxation and finance, whatever we do, right, it is basically comes when the knowledge that we get are either from uh, our seniors or from the internet. So those are the only two sources that we have. So as a part of this, I have, since I have seen so many people struggling with their taxes and stuff, so I have decided let's take a small introduction to taxation system. So that's the motivation here. And why are we not literate enough in the taxation thing? So two main reasons which I could think of is one is the financial illiteracy, because we have not been taught, not even in our PUC or the engineering, nor in our working, our profession. Second thing is mostly the terminologies used in taxation and finance, right? They seem very complicated, and that's one thing. That's another thing. Maybe that people are illiterate here. Okay. But if you dig deeper, so let's say by the end of this session, maybe you will understand that it is not that complicated at all. So if you spend, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks at the end of your financial year and understand what is deducted and where you can save, then you'll understand the whole of tax structure of Indian working class. Okay, and that's what I had done last year and this year as well. And I have found out a few schemes and good tax saving options that we got, that we have, where we can avail tax benefits and tax returns as well. Okay, so the last point here is, with proper knowledge of these aspects, taxation and personal finance, so we can become experts here, and we can also save money for ourselves and our friends. Okay, so that is the motivation. Now, let's see a comparison between a financially ignorant person and a literate person. So, if some guy's annual income is 10 lakh in both the cases, if he is financially ignorant, he would be paying 1 lakh 12,500 rupees of tax. But if he is intelligent enough and has explored on the tax saving options, he would be paying 72,500, which is a 50,000 rupees difference. Okay, and 50,000 rupees is not a small amount. Okay, so the price we pay for our ignorance is this 50,000 rupees if your income is 10 lakh, and if your income is more, then the price you would pay is more. Okay, which we will see later. So this calculation is based on the old tax regime, which I will speak about. So this is the price that we pay without the knowledge of income tax. Okay. So if you guys got any questions, you can stop me at any time and ask the question. So at least the motivation must have been clear by now, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the what is an income tax. So in India, income tax is a tax which is paid by individuals or entities. When I say entities, it is business, the companies and stuff like that. So based when depending on the level of earning that they have in a financial year. Okay, so this is paid to the government of India, and part of it to the state government. And this tax that we pay will be used for uh, welfare of the country. Maybe be it when bringing up the infrastructure, maybe uh, or other things that we see. So let's say a gas pipeline and dams and things like that. So the tax that we pay goes there. Okay, and so we spoke about what is income tax, and there is a keyword here, level of earning. Okay, So based on the level of earning of each individual or entity, the income tax will be computed differently. So we'll see how to calculate income tax. So how is income tax calculated? So it is the tax is charged based on the annual income of the individual or the entity, and the tax rate, the percentage of tax, will depend on his level of income. So this is called tax slab or tax band. You might have heard about it. So 20% band, 30% band, and stuff like that. So we'll see how this tax is calculated. So before that, there is an update in the last financial year, right? The 2020 budget. Sri Nirmala Sitaraman proposed and brought in a new tax structure. So earlier there was one tax structure which we now call old tax structure, and after 2020 budget there is a new tax structure. So currently both the tax structures are active, and people have an opportunity or option to choose one of them. Okay, so this is tax band which I spoke about. So if you see here, let I'll brief what this first column is. So first column is income slab. Okay, I believe there should, yeah. First column here is income slab, which means the overall taxable income of the person. Okay, so if your income is 0 to 2.5 lakh per year, so you will not be paying any tax. So second column indicates the old tax regime, which has been there from quite a many years, and new tax regime, this started from last year. Okay, so in both the cases, in both the options, you have zero tax paid on income up to 2.5 lakhs. Then from 2.5 to 5 lakhs, in both the cases, we have a taxation of 5%, but this 5% is with the star. So what is this? What is this star? I'll explain. There is a condition. So I'll explain that condition in later. Okay. And if your income is 5 to 7.5 lakh, taxable income is 5 to 7.5 lakh, then under the old tax slab, it is 20%. 20% of the income will be paid to the government as tax. And with the new regime, it is 10%. Similarly, for the other cases, and in the old regime, if your income is above 10 lakhs, okay, the tax that you pay is 30% of whatever is your annual income is. I mean, whatever the income above 10 lakh is. Okay. Similarly, there is different slab in new regime for income between 10 to 10 and higher. 10 to 12.5 it is 20%, 12.5 to 15 it is 25%, and above 15 it is 30%. Okay, so looking at this, one might think that the new regime would be uh, kind of more beneficial to them, right? But if you actually go into the calculations, which I will show now in a minute, you will find old regime is better for a certain band of income. I think it is up to 14 or yeah, 14 lakh. People with CTC of 14 lakh, old regime saves them more in taxes. Okay, so you guys got any questions here on this? Okay, yeah, then hmm, huh, hmm, hmm, yeah, it is nil. 5%. Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. So let me just quickly give you an example. If the income of a person is 10 lakh, okay, from 0 to 2.5 lakh, you will not be paying any taxes. Now from 2.5 to 5 lakh, he'll be paying 5% tax, which is 12,500 rupees. And for 5 to 7.5 lakhs, it is 2.5 lakh band, right? He'll be paying 20% of 2.5 lakhs, okay, which is how much? 50,000. Yeah, from 7 point, yeah, 5 to 7.5. Yeah, 5 to 10. So if you see this right, okay, I should have merged this. So let me merge it. Uh, bu- 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 okay. Where is the merge option, guys? Okay, I have been using Google Slides. Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, this is how it is. So overall, if you see, look at the old resume, right? 5 to 10 lakh, it will be 1 lakh. So it will be if a guy's annual income is uh, 10 lakh, he will be paying 1 lakh 12,500. Okay, and similarly, same thing is similar thing is calculated here. And yeah, I had put a star right here. So this star indicates if the overall taxable income of the person comes below 5 lakh, okay, then he'll not need to pay any taxes. So this is the income tax rebate which was announced in 2019 budget, I think. Yeah, it is 2019. So if the overall annual income of the person falls below 5 lakhs, he need not pay even the 5% of the taxes. Okay, that's the catch here. Okay. So yeah, this is clear, I think. So let's just calculate which regime is better. So I have an example here. Okay. So in old tax regime, you have an option to reduce your taxable income. So that is what I call the tax savings. So there are different sections 80C, 80D, and 24B, which we'll speak about. So that's the benefit that we see in old tax regime. So we have the option to save taxes by producing the deductions, while in new tax regime we don't have that option. So all your income is taxable. Okay, and that's the key difference. Why I said old tax regime is beneficial. Okay, now yes, this is the tax collection calculation for old. So now the calculation is on 7.5 lakhs. So it will be 12,500 plus 50,000. So 62,500 rupees will be tax on old slab. With the new slab, it will be 25 plus yeah, it will be 75,000. So if you see the overall income tax, right? If you see this, so overall it is mm, 62.5 for old tax slab and 75 for new tax slab. And there is education cess which is charged 4% on the income tax. So 4% of 62.5K is 2,500. So total outgoing tax, okay, per year for the old tax regime is 65K, and for the new it is 78K. Yeah, no, yeah, that is not included. Yeah, that is not included here. This is just an example. Okay, 24B, yeah, I'll discuss that. 24B is mainly on your home loan. Okay, I'll discuss that. Yeah, okay, I have slides on that. We'll discuss that. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is just an example to show how old tax regime is still a better choice. See, new tax regime is for people who would want to have want to see more money in their accounts on the last day of the month. And I think new tax regime is useful for only for people whose CTC or annual income is more than 14 or 15. Only then it can beat old tax regime's benefits. Okay. And people with the CTC more than 14 lakh can calculate which is better option for them. Yeah. Okay. So now we'll look at the timelines for this year, financial year. So in April 2021, that is this month, your employer will ask you to choose one of the resumes. So either you can choose to go with the old resume or the new resume, and they will ask you to if you choose the new resume, then you don't have any option. That's done. So you don't have to declare anything tax saving investments. But if you choose a old resume, you'll have to declare the tax saving investments that you are planning to do this financial year. And this declared amount will be exempted from your overall tax calculation till January or February 2022. Okay, why January or February 2022? I'll explain. So in January or February 2022, your employer will ask for the proofs uh, of the declaration that you have done in April. Okay, and if there's a difference in the amounts, let's say in April you decided, I mean you had declared that you will make an investment of 1 lakh for tax saving in ATC, but in Jan you could only invest by the end of Jan you could only invest 50,000, which means additional 50,000 is the balance amount. So what your employer will do, he will consider that difference amount for the taxation, and the amount will be deducted from the salary of February and March. Okay, that's what is normally done. It might that timelines might differ from company to company. In my company, it is January. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It will be yeah. What will happen is in Jan, if the amount for which you have shown proof, right? It is if it is less than what you had declared, your overall tax will be recomputed. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Only tax amount will be yes. Correct, correct. Only tax amount will be deducted. Okay. So this is yeah, this is the main reason why people get shocked when they see salary of February and March, right? So they'll start emailing and calling the finance team. Why is my salary low? So main reason is they have not submitted enough proofs. Okay, yeah. And in April, yeah, from April 2022 to July 2022, the income tax department will mm, open the window for filing the returns. Okay, when I say filing the returns, it's basically a form or an online form that you fill in the Income Tax India department on all the investments that you have done for the year. Okay, that is called income tax return. And if on the calculation, so the income tax department will have the data on how much tax you have paid for the year. And in your return form, if it finds that the tax that you have paid is less than what is filled in sorry, if it is more than what is filled in income tax return form, they will refund a part of the amount. I mean, that is difference amount. Okay, yeah, that's what is usually done. So this is the main step. So even if you don't do first two right, you will have to do the last one. Okay, you can choose not to do these two. Okay, you can still declare your investments to be zero, and you don't have to produce your investment proofs to the company. But this one you will have to do. And even if you do not produce any investment proofs or declared anything to your company, uh, but still you have invested in PPFs and things like that, that you can give it in the final step, that is the income tax return form, ITR form. Okay, but declaring money here in April 2021 uh, will help you in getting the cash in hand. Okay, to at least to invest in the schemes. Okay, yeah. Any questions here? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead. Hmm. Hmm. Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. So if you don't declare anything in April, so the overall tax will be computed on your overall income and it will be deducted till Jan Feb 2022, and in 2000 Jan Feb 2022, if you submit the proofs, right, so probably there you will see a raise in your salary for February and March. Okay, yeah, not the raise in the salary, but raise in your take home monthly. Okay, yeah, so that's on this. Okay, now yes, uh, correct, correct. So if you skip ITR, you'll get a notice from income tax department on post. What is it? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Who is it? Okay, we'll discuss that later since it is being recorded. Okay. Uh, uh, hmm. 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 Oh. Uh, hmm. 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 I think what they will do is they'll keep it pending till March, I think, or March or February, and deduct them at one or two shots. Yeah. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, yeah. Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. I think usually mid-year they won't entertain what is it, income tax recomputation, I think. That's why they do it at single shot in near the end of the year. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let us move on. Yeah. So if you are planning to choose the old resume for this year, this is my categorization on what are the options that you have through which you can save the tax. Okay. So the category that I have made is one, two, three, four, six categories. First one is investments and other payments like interest and stuff, interest on loans. So that is those sections are here: ATC, ATCCD1, ATCCD2, and there is one more section, ATCCD1B, which was introduced in budget 2019, I believe. Okay, that is additional 50,000. And then there are categories for medical expenses and interest paid on education loan and home loans, and then the donations and interest on money in your savings accounts. And if the tax paying person is disabled, then there is some concession on income tax. Okay. So for the deduction case here, for the ATC, ATCCD1 and ATCCD2, so all these combined, the max deduction is 1.5 lakh per year. And then there is ATCD1B, which is contribution to NPS, National Pension Scheme. That is additional 50,000. Okay, and hmm, yeah, yeah, yeah. It includes PF also. Yes, yes. It includes PF also. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, that is NPS, CCD, NPS, National Pension Scheme. If you deposit 50,000 there, right, that is directly deducted from your tax calculations. So overall, if you follow this, right, you will get 2 lakh on just investments and payments. 2 lakh deduction in your tax computation. Okay. And then there are these things. So yeah, we'll discuss on each of them quickly. So main thing which I would want to concentrate on is this ATC and ATCCD1. Okay. Rest may not be relevant to all of us. While some of these like home loans, right, that could be relevant. So we'll spend some time there in home loans and this first category. Okay. So yes. So section 80C is the reduction on investments. So this is very popular and a favorite section among taxpayers, and it allows maximum deduction of 1.5 lakh every year. Okay, and this includes three subsections: 80 triple C, ATCCD1, ATCCD1B, and ATCCD2. While ATCCD1B should put a star here, allows additional 50,000 apart from 1.5 lakhs. Okay, so let's look at these things here. I hope it is big enough. Okay, so in ATC, what are the eligible investments? Okay, if you look at the second row here, the investments made towards PPF, Public Provident Fund, EPF, Employee Provident Fund, LIC premium, Equity Linked Savings Scheme, which is ELSS. Give me a moment. Let's see if someone is waiting. Okay, no, but yeah, ELSS. Then principal amount paid towards home loan, and then there are stamp duty and registration charges for home loan. Then if you are a father of a girl child, then Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana. Then there is National Savings Certificate. Then for people, senior citizen, that is people above 60 years of age, there is Senior Citizen Savings Scheme. Then there are ULIPs. It's mostly like your LICs. And then there are tax saving FDs for 5 years. And then if you have paid on any infrastructure bonds, common infrastructure bonds. So all these things, uh, when summed, it so to 1 point, I mean up to if you have invested up to 1.5 lakhs, so that 1.5 lakh will be exempted from your tax calculation. Okay, it is under 80C. Okay, so then there is 80 triple C, which may not be, I mean, we may not be using it, but yes. So it allows deduction for payment towards annuity of pension plans. The pension plan could be from LIC or there is UTI. So if you register there for some of the pension plans, the amount paid towards the annuity part of that pension plan is deducted from the taxes. Okay. And then there is 80CCD1. I don't know how many of us have this option in our companies. So there is a 80CCD1 and 80CCD2. 2, in 80CCD1 it is employees contribution towards NPS, and in 80CCD2 it is employers contribution to NPS. So NPS is basically a national pension scheme, um, managed by the NDSL, where you put money in there every year or every month, and after 60 years, uh, when you turn to age of 60, you will get a pension. Okay, I'll show the pension calculator in few minutes. So I mean, how much pension you will get if you invest how much amount. Okay, but yeah, mostly uh, most of us might not have 80CCD1 and 80CCD2, so it will be it probably, if it is there, it will be there in your offer letter. Okay, if employer is contributing, you can contribute up to 10% of basic salary, and even employee, if employee's contribution, if his employee is contributing through the company, then 10% of its salary is maximum, that can be deducted from tax computation. Oh, sorry, not from the computation. Only he can, uh, okay, only he can invest up to 10% of the his basic salary in NPS. Okay, yeah, Now yeah. 80CCD1 is basically through the company. If you are investing to NPS through the company, if company has a tie-up with the NDSL, right? They'll deposit some amount from your salary. It is 10% of your salary. Plus, they will also deposit 10% of um, 10% of your basic salary. So total 20% of your basic salary. Okay, 80CCD1 plus 80CCD2. They'll deposit in NPS account. Okay, that is through the company. Now, if your company doesn't have that option, or you would want to contribute more to the NPS, okay, you have 80CCD1B. Okay. Hmm. So here, if you invest up to 50,000, okay, in the NPS account, and that amount will be exempted from the tax computation. Okay. So in summary, using 80C, 80CCC, 80CCD1, and 80CCD2, if you combine all these, and the combined investment is, if it is 1.5 lakh, that 1.5 lakh will be exempted from your tax computation. Plus, there is an added benefit from 80CCD1B. If you invest 50,000 there, so 1.5 plus 50,000, so overall 2 lakhs will be exempted from your tax computation. Yeah, there is this equity linked savings scheme, right? ELSS here. Equity linked savings scheme is basically a tax saver mutual fund. Yeah, ULIP is different. This ELSS is basically mutual fund. ELSS is basically as, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, 3 years lock-in. Yeah, that I'll show in next slide. How much is the lock-in and how much is the risk? Okay, so I hope this slide is clear. 80C, 80CCC, 80CCD1, and 80CCD2, the overall combined you can show up to 1.5 lakhs, and in 80CCD1B you can show additional 50,000. So overall, from this slide you can benefit up to 2 lakhs in the 2 lakh deduction in tax computation. So I hope that is clear. So if it is not clear, please ask. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Now I'll show some of the most common or most popular investment options, that is in ATC. So there are these. Okay. Uh, I have the schemes in ATC, and return of investment, and the lock-in period. Okay. We have this EPF, Employees Provident Fund. So the current rate of interest, I think it is 8.5. This number is correct, and this is logged in till our retirement. Okay. Uh, then till you retire, yeah, it will depend. End of employment, which means if you're unemployed for 3 years, 3 continuous years, I think then you can redeem the CPF amount. Uh, yeah, you can look at the clauses of this. So this is in general I'm saying. So I think you can partially withdraw money from EPF as well. So that options are also there. Uh, but usually, see, since the return on investment here is very high, right? People generally don't withdraw money from this EPF. This is the highest among all the schemes that we have. Okay. And if you find someone who is withdrawing money from EPF, if it is the worst case, I mean, or if they do not have any option, that's the worst thing that they can do, EPF. But if you find someone who is withdrawing money from EPF for just to buy a bike or a scooter, then my advice would be don't do it because return on investment is very high, and when it matures, right, you will not. I mean, I'll show you some computations. You will be amazed as to what is the amount of return that it will give. Okay, so that is one first option. The second thing is a public provident fund. So here, uh, this is similar to EPF, but the lock-in period is a little less, which is 15 years, and we can extend it in block of 5 years, 15, 20, 25, 30, things like that. And the return on investment, the interest rate now is 7.1% currently. Okay, this I would say this is the next best from EPF. And then there is a equity linked savings scheme, which is SIP or the mutual funds basically. And that has to be logged in for 3 years. So there are specific mutual funds listed by the income tax department, which you can, I mean, whose locking period is 3 years. So that can be shown here as an investment. And this ELSS might have, depending on the fund that you choose, right? They might have an return 10 or 10 to 12%. But it is risky because it is linked to market. And then there is a national savings certificate, which you can open in post office. Uh, I think the lock-in period is 5 years, and the current rate of interest is 6.8%. It is mostly like an FD, okay, but opened in post office. And then if you have subscribed to any term life insurance policies, then that is also exempted. Then there is a unit-linked investment plan. So this also is exempted. Uh, yeah. Then there is a LICs, okay, most popular among Indians because of the brainwashing that they do to people at the young age. So this is also exempted. And then there is a, yeah, one moment. Yeah, if you are the parent of a girl child, this SSY, Sukhana Samriddhi Yojana, this is launched in 2015, I think. Uh, Short form is SSY. So you can invest there also. So the return on investment currently is 7.6, but when it started, it was about around 9, I think. Because of this pandemic, all these rates have been reduced. Even the PPF, the return was around 8.1 or so. One moment. Okay, Subramanya is here. Even yeah. So because of the pandemic, these interest rates have reduced. Okay, this SSY is one of the best schemes I would say that the government has brought in 2015. And yeah, this is invested in the account of the girl child, and The investment will be for 14 years and maturity will be after 21 years. Okay. And then there is pension schemes issued by life insurance. This is basically 80 triple C. Uh, so generally the locking period is 10 years. And then if you are above 60 years of age, then there is a scheme called Senior Citizen Savings Scheme, whose return on investment is 7.4%, and the lock-in is 5 years. So these are some of the popular investment options. So now I'll show, yeah, yeah, tax saving. Yeah, yeah, correct, correct. So there is this, yeah, tax saving FD option for whose lock-in is 5 years. That also is one of the popular because it is easiest to open. Yeah, without, yeah, correct, correct. Hmm, hmm, correct. Yeah, yes, that can return is very less, and going ahead, uh, we will. I think it will depreciate even further. Currently, I think the FD rates are 4.15, sorry, 5.15%. I think. Yeah, it, yeah, yeah. Yeah, with inflation, it'll go down even further. Yeah, and yeah, this is what I have. Now I'll show some of the calculations. Where is it? Okay. First, we'll look at the PPF calculation. Uh, so let's say let's say you invest something like 5,000 per month, okay? And at the time period is 15 years and rate of interest currently 7.1. So, sorry, 60,000, okay? So if you see here, so you have invested 9 lakhs and money has kind of almost doubled, I would say, in 15 years. So this is one of the best investment, risk-free or low-risk investment uh, provided by Government of India. Okay, this is one. And then there is Sukanya Samriddhi. So if you invest, let's say I'll again put same 60,000. And girl's age can be anything, so it doesn't matter. So after 14 years, yeah, there are clauses for it. You can check that. Okay. But if you see here, the total investment is 9 lakh and total interest itself is almost two times. Okay. So if you see, total maturity value will be 25 lakhs. And if you invest more here, I mean, this will grow. Okay. So people who are about to become parents can note this one. Okay. So these are two things. Yeah. Then okay, I'll come to NPS and APY later. Uh, let's see. What do I have not? Okay, yeah, I'll come to that later. So these are the two things when that you can plan. PPF is, I would say, go for PPF. Although this return is less than ELSS or any mutual fund, but it is the safest. Okay, okay. This is in ATC, and then other payments. 15 years, 15 years. Locking period is 15 years. Okay, okay. Okay, okay. Yeah, this thing I brief. So PPF, this PPF and even SSY, right? Both you can open in through your internet banking. For PPF, all that you need is the other card and other OTP. And for SSY, I think you might need a child's birth certificate. Okay, but PPF you can open online anytime. Your bank should have, I mean, bank online internet banking will have this option. Okay. Yeah. So yes, then other reductions eligible for under 80C is a LIC premium that you pay for you, for your spouse, and for your parents. Uh, all of them are eligible, but there is some condition which you can research online. Okay. And then the principal paid towards the home loan repayment. Okay. So that also comes under 80C. And the tuition paid for children education for that year. So that is also deducted from your tax computations. So this is 80C invest. Yeah. Huh. Child's school fee. Yeah. Tuition fee. Only tuition part. Mm. Not the expenses. The tuition fee that they mention in the yeah. Huh. Yeah. Huh. Correct. Correct. Only tuition fee part of it is taken. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. So that's on this. And so yeah, first one is on investment. Then there is these payments that you do. Next is on NPS, National Pension Scheme, which is deduction under 80CCD. Okay. I spoke about CCD 1 and 2, and then there is 80CCD 1B. This is your voluntary contribution to NPS. You can log into this NPS website, and you can create the account. So here also all that you need is your Aadhaar card number, and you can just uh, pay online. Okay. And this one catch in NPS is that it is linked to the market. There are many pension managers. There is SBI, HDFC, and Aditya Birla, and there are like 5 to 6 pension managers which you can choose in their website. And this amount, the pension amount will come only after 60 years, and you will have to pay till 60 years, at least the minimum amount. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, 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 you can do that. But minimum amount to keep the account active is something that you have to pay. I think 500 rupees per year. Huh. Yeah, I think it is per year. Okay, yeah, that you can we can check offline, or you can check now also. Yeah, even in PPF you need minimum of 500 rupees of investment per year to keep the account active. Otherwise, the account will become dormant and interest won't be computed. Okay, you can check this 80CD1B. I mean, how much is the minimum investment per year? And not just this, there is one more thing which is called APY uh, plus APY, which is Atal Pension Yojana. I'll show these returns now. First, I'll show NPS. So, okay, let's say your date of birth is 93, someday in 93. Okay, and per month, since it is 50,000 per year, let's make it 4,200 per month. Because that will amount to 50,000 per year. Okay, and there will be the total. You will have to contribute still 60 years, and this is return on investment expectation. So since it is market linked, we can have let's say 8% of return of investment. And I'll speak about this annuity. And yes. Now, minimum annuity is okay, so much. So what this annuity means is whatever the overall uh, amount that got accumulated, the invested plus the interest amount, right? So annuity is if you choose a percentage, you can choose a percentage. Minimum is 40%. If you choose 50%, let's say, uh, the 50% of that amount, if you choose 50% here, the 50% of the amount will be paid as a monthly pension, and remaining 50% will come to you immediately at the age of 60 years. If you see here, so the annuity value is how much is it? 40 lakhs, I think. Yeah, 40 lakhs. So yeah, it is 40 lakhs. So 40 lakhs will come to you immediately at the age of 60 years, and remaining 40 lakhs will be paid to you in a in terms of monthly pension. So monthly pension will be 20,000 rupees. So yeah, after 60. This is a very good plan uh, because yeah, yeah. What you can do, yeah, you can invest till 10 years for next 10 years, let's say 50,000, and then to keep the account active, you can pay the minimum amount. Yeah. That time this number will be different. It will not be in so much lakhs. It could be in 1 or 2 lakhs. Yeah. Yeah, this cannot be withdrawn in emergency cases. PPF can be withdrawn. I don't. Hmm, hmm. Yeah, there is probably an option. I haven't digged much here on the amount that we can premature withdrawal here, but I think that it is possible, but only a part of this amount, I think. Loan, I am not sure. Okay. This is one. This is just by investing 4,200 per month for the next 33 years. This will be the overall corpus that you will get. And if you choose 40% annuity, you will have almost 50 lakh in your hand at the age of 60. Okay. And monthly pension will be 16,000 post that. Till this overall 32 lakh goes to zero. I think it will be for next 15 or 16 years you'll get till 75 or 76. Okay. That is one. That is NPS, and then there is something called APY, which the government. There was already a pension scheme by government, but that is revised in 2015. So it depending on your age, right? So what the scheme is, anybody above 80, above 18 till 40 years can join the scheme, and they can join a scheme for a fixed pension amount. So only five are allowed here: 10, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 till 5,000. So if you choose 5,000, and if you join the scheme at 27 years of age, uh, one second, I think there should be some, yeah, your monthly contribution will be, it is shown here, I think, yeah. Your monthly contribution will be 446 rupees. You will have to pay 446 rupees till 60 years of age every month. If you do that, you will get a pension of 5K per month. And that again, this annuity, there is an annuity rate. So when you change the annuity, annuity is basically the amount that you would want to uh, keep in the keep in interest calculations through which you get the pension. So if you yes, if you so usually for this is the competition is 7% annuity, which means at the end, right? So at the end of 60 years of age for you, overall amount in your APY account is 8 lakhs. But post that also, it will continue earning interest, and if the interest is 7%, then you will get 5K minimum, and if the interest is more than that, 10%, it will get 7K. It depends on what the government I mean, sets the annuity at when we attain the age of 60. This is also a good scheme, and this you can refer to any of your friends who are not even working in a corporate sector, right? Uh, so they can. It is 80 CCD 1B, that additional 50,000 thing. Yeah. Okay. You can refer this to your friends or relatives who are not or not in this corporate sector or in unorganized sector. They can also contribute. See, if a guy is in at the age of 22, right, he just has to pay 292 per month. Okay. And if he's 18, he just has to pay 210, which is almost like half the amount that we pay if we start now. So this is also a wonderful scheme by the government. And this APY also you can start from your online internet banking platform. So any questions here on NPS and APY? Yeah, tier one and tier two. So I have only started with tier one and I have not digged into tier two. Yeah, anyone here who has started? Hmm. Tier two, I think yeah, in tier two you can withdraw the money anytime. That is the option that we have. So yeah, to brief everyone, this NPS, right? It has two accounts, NPS Tier 1 and NPS Tier 2. So whatever the calculation that I showed is for NPS Tier 1, okay? And there is another account, NPS Tier 2. Uh, if you invest money there, that will not be exempted from taxes. Uh, but that amount can be withdrawn anytime. It is not exempted, but you can research that. I think it is not exempted. Yeah, because one can withdraw money at any time, right? They would not keep it for exemptions. Yeah. Okay. So that's on NPS and APY. So you see, even if you cannot invest so much per month, right? 4,200, you can always invest at least 442. So go ahead and start with this APY. At least you will have some money for your tablets in your 60s. Okay. So that's one. And yeah, that's on this. And then there are tax deductions on medical expenses, ATD, ATDD, ATDDB. This is for ATD is for medical insurance, which you have availed for you, your spouse, and children. And up to 25,000 of premium payment is exempted from taxes. And for parents, it is 50,000. And in ATDD, this is for the medical treatment for any handicapped dependent. It's for dependents. So based on disability percentage, you can avail so much, I mean, 75K or 1.25, 75K or 1.525 lakhs um, from your tax computation. And then there is 80DDB, that is medical expenditure for oneself or a dependent relative for some of the diseases mentioned, so which are here in the foot. So depending on yeah, at least 40% of the disability is the criteria here. And yes, for less than 60 years of age, it is 40,000. And for more than 60 years of age, it is 1 lakh. So make a note of this. So this will be of use to all of us. That is on medical expenses. And then there is interest paid on loans. This might be of interest to, yeah. Uh, yes, yes, yes. That is there. Well, what section is that? Mm, Preventive health checkup. Yeah, I have read about it. It's a preventive health checkup means uh, let's say you want to check normal body checkup and let's say BP check. If a person is not already diagnosed with that, okay, things like that. Okay. Uh, Bills, I'm not completely sure. I think you can check with CA. I am not sure. Yeah. Okay. And then on, next is tax deduction on interest paid on loans. So two kinds of loans are recognized, which are essential necessary loans. One is education loan, and another is home loan. So ATE is the section which talks about this education loan. So interest paid for 8 years. Uh, so that is exempted from your tax computation. Okay. And there is ATE for home loan, that is up to 50,000, but there is a catch there also. Yeah, which you can see here. So you can refer to this, the one that I'm moving, right? So you can refer to this for the tax deduction on home loans. There is one provision in ATC where the premium paid for only the premium paid for home loan is tax exempted. That is one. Second thing is this is for interest paid. The tax deduction on interest paid. That is section 24B, which says you can avail up to 2 lakhs of tax exemption. And then there is ATEE. This is specifically for loans that were sanctioned in this time frame, April to March of 2016-17, which may not be relevant to us. Okay, but there is ATEEA, which might be of interest to few of us here, because the home loans that are availed uh, till March 31st, 2021, which got sanctioned. So those come under this. This is upon 24B, right? Okay. Once you have exhausted 24B, if the interest that you pay is more than 2 lakhs, then you can avail ATEEA section. Let's say the interest that you paid for the home loan for this year is 2.5 lakhs. You can show 2 lakhs in 824B and point 0.5 lakhs, 50,000 in ATEEA. Yeah, post that hmm. Yeah, I think the government will uh, announce it in budgets. I think so. This only gets added in the budget, but I'm not sure. I can check because ATEA that was yeah yeah ATEA. I think this was announced in Feb what is it 2019 or 20 budget. I think this particular yeah. I mean I think government will. I'm confident that government will come up with something for home loans next year also because this is expiring next year, right? Or yeah, this has already expired actually. Yeah. Yeah. 3.5, 3.5. 24B interest paid. This is on interest paid. For premium, you have 80 ATC. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I think the main yeah yeah. I mean yeah yeah. It will be good, but looking at the current scenario, I don't think they'll come up with something for the next year. But in future, we can expect as the economy grows and becomes stronger. we can expect. Yeah. Yes. I think this home loan part is clear. And this a, principal paid in ATC, right? People don't find it useful because see most of the ATC 1.5 lakh element, right, that goes in EPF, and you have this LICs and stuff like that, right? So it may not be useful. But yeah, if you have that interest paid amount, I mean, principal amount, you can just show it there. But what I urge is even if you even if with the principal amount that you pay, if it comes to 1.5 lakhs, you go ahead and invest in PPFs. Okay, because this is a very good scheme with very low risk and high returns. Okay, and there is one thing which I forgot to mention. There is this EPF, right? So currently the EPF is 12% of your basic salary. 12% of your basic salary will be deducted from your salary, and 12% the company will contribute. So it will be 24%. And then there is something called voluntary provident fund. Upon 12% of your contribution, you can tell your company to deduct more from your salary. Let's say make it 15%. Okay. So that is called VPF, voluntary provident fund. But if you do that, if you make it 15%, the company's contribution will still be 12%. They will not increase theirs. Okay. The company can only contribute 12% of your basic. So yeah, that's also a good option. Let's say you don't want to do PPF. You don't want money after 15 years, but you want money after retirement. Then you can you can contribute to VPF. Okay. Okay. That yeah. Uh, not not completely. I think only 50% of the amount. I'm not sure. You can check. There is a provision. Uh, okay. That, yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah. I'll just check. Oops. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, that comes under ELSS. Uh, that is the ATC ELSS. ELSS. So, okay, see, 90% of the EPF plans can be withdrawn after 54 years. But if you are leaving a job, a person can withdraw 75% of the PPF balance. So it's for one now. Yeah, yes, yes, yeah, yeah. So if you are, yes, if you are uh, leaving the job early, or if you're taking retirement early, then yes, this is the option that you have, and it will be done by default, I think. Yeah. Which one? ELS is good, but there is market risk. See, that is why, say, my recommendation is you need to balance everything in your investment portfolio, right? You should have high return giving high risk funds, but the amount that you invest there, right? You should balance it. So let's say there is a mutual fund that gives you 18% return, and then there are some other fund which gives you 12% return, and then there is a PPF which gives you 7% return. So you should choose the percentage of amount that you invest in these, right? Such that on average you should get at least 12%, combining all of them. So that's what people usually do. But people who are in hurry of building wealth, they invest all of them in mutual funds, which is very risky, and they might end up losing also. Hmm. Correct, correct. Yeah, yeah. There are large cap, mid cap, and things like that, and even debt funds. That also you can do. So yeah, that we can probably discuss separately. Here, the main from mutual fund part, it is basically ELSS, which has lock-in for 3 years, and there are very good of managers available. Then there are things by DSP and Axis. You can check them. Here. Okay. Yeah, we will move on. This thing we have discussed, and then there are tax deduction on donations that you make. If you are doing any donations for the year for the social cause or for rural development and scientific research or to any political party, so those amounts will be deducted. I have not put in details of this, so you can check them online if you are donating. And probably one thing that we all must have donated is the one for uh, PM cares. Yeah, I think that comes under ATG. So that you will see in your ITRs. Okay, so that's on this. And yes, so okay, yeah. Now the yeah, leave travel allowance. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So, mhm. Actually, what happens is, see, company will provide show some amount in your LTA. Okay. Now, if you do not claim anything, you will get all that amount in your salary, but that amount will be taxed. Now, to claim LTA on tax deduction, what you have to do is you plan a trip, go to the trip, come back and produce the bills. Now, that bill amount, as per the LTA, whatever that limit is, LTA amount, so much is exempted from your tax computation. Similarly, that is one is LTA. Then similarly, there are fuel reimbursements and stuff like that, which can be exempt from tax computation. That is at the source side. That is TDS basically. So the company will change your payments accordingly. So even if you do not claim it, the whole LTA amount will be paid to you, but that will be taxed. If you do not want it to be taxed, you have to, when you can produce those travel bills and petrol diesel bills. Okay, yeah, and then there is HRA, yeah, which I'll speak about in 2 3 slides. But if your CTC doesn't mention HRA, right? This is only for people who do not have HRA component in their salary structure, so they can avail this benefit here. So 5,000 per month, that is 60,000 per year, or 25% of the total income, the minimum of these three, basically. Okay, so that is 80 GG, but for us it might not be relevant because I believe all of us have HRA component on our CTC. So yeah, then there is yeah, yes, Prasanna. Hmm. Yeah, 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 correct. You need to claim there. I would say, yeah, what I do is I declare how much rent I'll pay uh, and give the receipts accordingly in January, February. Uh, but if you're not producing bills but still want to claim it in ITR, it's also possible. But then you'll have to wait for the return, right? For that amount. That's the only difference. Yeah. On HRA, I'll speak when we speak about that XLS that I was talking about. Okay, so yeah, then there is a ATTT and ATTTB. If you put your money in your savings account, okay, and the interest earned up to 10,000 rupees, that is exempt from tax calculation. For senior citizens, it is up to 50,000 rupees. This is basically simple interest from savings account. This also we don't normally use, but see, we have 10,000 deductions, so we can start using it. Okay. But if you put your money in FD, right, you cannot show that here. The FD interest will come as your income. It will add to your income. So that you cannot show that here. But whatever the money that you have put in savings account, the interest that you get, you can show. Okay. Just checking if it is live. Yeah. So yeah, this is for pe people with disability. You can claim up to 75K for the first case here and 1.25 lakhs on the severe disability. Okay. So this is all you can do to save the amount from your tax computations. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Think yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll share this along with an XLS. So I have an XLS. I'll show now, with the help of which you can compute your taxes. So I'll bring that up. Where is it? Okay, maybe I have closed it. Let me open it. So yeah, this is the XLS. Oops, looks 1 second. Yeah, this is the XLS I got from an website called apnaplan.com. So what you need to do here is you just have to fill the orange cells. Okay, and at the end it will show what is your tax payable as per old regime, also tax payable as per the new regime. Okay, let's just I'll just explain what it is. So you just have to insert your date of birth. Okay, and it is this is just to check whether you are above 60 or below 60. Okay, and let's put in your annual income and put in the components of the income. So if if you don't live in these cities, Delhi, Metro, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata, then you come under non-metro. And this basic salary will be there in your CTC statement, mm, 3 lakh. And then there is this is for HRA exemption. So rent paid, if you pay so much amount, you just enter it here. And HRA received from your this thing, it will usually be 50% of the basic. So the overall HRA exemption will be minimum of these three components. Okay, so basic minimum of 40% of basic, or minimum of rent paid minus 10% of basic, and overall HRA received. So minimum of these three will be exempted from your tax computation. This is one benefit. And if you're paying rent more than 1 lakh, right, I think you'll have to produce the PAN number of the owner. Okay. Yeah. So this is one component, HRA, which we did not discuss in the PPT, but that is one major component of your income tax deductions. And then there is a standard deduction. which is like government in the budget 2019 announced so much. So you can this will be deducted from your overall income every year for tax in your tax computation. So if your income is, I think it is 40,000 for uh, income below 10 lakh. I'm not sure. You can check. Okay, so let's put that in. So much amount will be deducted directly. So now, mm, after this, or your overall taxable income till here will be 8.91 lakhs. Now, post this comes your yeah 8.91, and post this you have yeah yeah standard deduction is basically government is saying we will exempt so much amount from your tax computation for free. Yeah. And then your company will do this standard deduction calculation, so you don't have to worry about it. But so this is a gift by the government. And then you have to declare any other source of income if you own a property, or if you get rent, or if you have put things in these schemes. Okay, you have to declare that so that your uh, overall income increases. Uh, Okay, then comes less deductions. Okay, from row number 27, it is all deductions. So if you incur a loss from your house property, or uh, interest paid on the home loans, right? So you can just enter it here. So then, so let's say interest paid on the home loan. Okay, let's put 25K here. Okay, and now your gross total income will become 8.66. Okay, now you can use all that we discussed in ATC, right? You can produce up to 51.5 lakhs here. Okay, you can choose the investments, and so much will be deducted. And then there is ATCCD 1B, which gives another 50K advantage. Okay, and then if you are donating, or if you are paying for a medical insurance premium, you can just enter it here. And then there is ATEEA, which I spoke about for home loans. And I think there is one more uh, section 80 which is for electronic vehicles. Okay, the ones it's basically electrical vehicles. So the interest on the loan amount, so that is also exempted. Okay, this we did not discuss. Yeah. So with all these, right? With all these, you will have a net taxable income which is 666.6. Sorry, 6.66. So net tax payable will be based on the band. So for from 2.5 to 5, you will have 12,500 plus on 20% on 1.66. So overall it amounts to 47K. Uh, Sorry, overall it amounts to 45K. And then there is 4% education cess, which they calculate on this amount, row number 65. On row number 65, they take 4% of it. It is 1,800 rupees. And overall, the next tax payable will be 47K. Okay. So this is on old tax regime. But if you do the same thing on the new tax regime, you will end up paying 78K. So you can see the difference here itself. And one can use this XLS for if people with CTC more than 14, right? They can use this XLS. Know which one is beneficial for them. Okay. So whichever is beneficial, I urge you guys to uh, invest here, invest in these things. Okay. Except for LIC, you can invest in all of this. Okay. Instead of LIC, I mean, the recommended thing is you take a term insurance, which has less premium, and the amount you are paying for LIC premium, you can redirect it to some better schemes. Maybe you can put it into VPF. Unit linked insurance plan. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Hmm. So yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because it is your money, right? So you have to take I mean, you have to think and take a decision. So it's always important that our money goes in the place which is in a place which is safe and it gives moderate returns. I would not say high return. High returns are always risky. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Oh, oh, oh. Okay. Hmm. 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 Yeah. So that is the reason we need to read all the all the things that are written in low fonts, right? Small fonts. They have the maximum impact. So always read the small fonts. Yeah. Okay. Uh, that's on this. So I have last one slide. So I'll send this Excel is attached in the PPT itself. I'll share. So you can use this for your own convenience and tax computations. Okay. So let's come to the last thing. So yeah, this is on personal finance. It's not related to taxes and stuff. Okay. So let me go to full screen. Yeah, this is the snapshot from that book which I was talking about, Master Your Money, Master Your Life. So what he says is the amount, the income that you get, right? So what he recommends is you divide it into five funds. Okay, let's say you get 100 rupees of income, salary per month. You divide it into five funds. So one is called financial freedom account. Next is emergency fund account, sinking fund account, fun account, necessity account. So I'll explain what these are. So you divide it into five funds. Okay. Now, the first two, financial freedom and emergency fund account. So these two are for your future. You're investing money for your future self. Okay. So financial freedom account is where your money actually grows. So this could be PPF. Uh, this can be NPS. This can be your mutual funds. This can be gold, land, anything. Okay. So through which your money will grow. Okay. That is your financial freedom account. Then there is the emergency fund account, uh, which is very important if you look at the current scenario. So what is done here is if you face any emergencies in future, be it a medical emergency or a job loss emergency. In such situations, you will have to reserve some fund. You have to save every month so that you build a corpus amount. Okay, so which you can use only in your emergency cases, not for buying car or bike or home. So that should be reserved for uh, emergency purposes. Okay, so these two are investment accounts. Then there is sinking fund account. Uh, this is for future plans. Let's say after 2 years you would want to buy a car or a bike or a house after 10 years. So you save some money instead of going taking a loan and paying EMIs, right? What is recommending is you save amount from now itself every month in a sinking fund account. Okay, so that when the time comes, you can buy. This can be for even for refrigerator or mobile phones as well. So if you, let's say after 1 year, I mean after 6 months you want to buy a mobile phone uh, of 12,000 rupees, you can save 2k every month instead of going for an EMI. Okay, nowadays this credit card companies, right, through the apps like credit and stuff, they make credit cards like hi-fi stuff or standard stuff. Uh, but if you are intelligent enough, you will find how credit card companies are looting us. So this guy recommends that don't go for EMIs, just save enough money in some account so that when the time comes you can purchase it. Then there is fun account. This is the account that you use for your monthly fun activities like going for dinner or a small trip or picnic. Okay, so you can use, we can deposit some amount in fun account which you will use for your fun activities. It can be for long-term planned trips as well. Okay, so then there is a necessity account which you will use for your monthly expenses, be it rent or any bills or petrol, diesel, everything. So that is in necessity account. So you divide your overall monthly income to these five categories, and then you can manage your money well. Okay. So how much you should invest, that is depending on depends on you. You can change. So he recommends 10% on first four and remaining 60% on necessity, but it is up to you. Okay. So I would say you invest more in first two, financial freedom and emergency fund. Okay. And and the necessity account, I mean, anyway, that is a necessity, so that you cannot change. So then you can budget your things accordingly. Okay. And yeah, even in sinking fund account, right, your home loan EMIs and stuff like that. So if you already have a loan, so that you have to put, I mean, put in here. Okay. Now, where to put the money? The financial freedom account. This can be your equity, stock market, I mean, mutual funds or PPF and related uh, gold or land. So things like that you can invest there. And emergency fund account, RD and FD. Okay. Even sinking fund account, FD and RD, and the rest two will be in savings account. Okay. If you have multiple bank accounts, this managing these funds will be easy. Mm, Generally, people will have at least two accounts, so we can manage these funds with two or three accounts. So when will you spend this? So you never spend from your financial freedom account. It is for your future after 15 or 20 years, and this is only during your emergency. Not so emergency means not Deepavali, not any planned trips. It's only for emergency. And then there is the sinking fund account when you want to purchase, I mean, purchase the planned stuff. Only then you can withdraw it. Okay, rest too you guys will know. Yeah. So if you haven't purchased the book, it is still okay. But if you purchase that book, it will enlighten you on many things. Okay. If you haven't purchased the book, this is the central part of the book, I'd say. Okay. So yeah, that's all I had. So if you have any questions, yeah, if you have any questions on this, you can ask. I think I did not ask that. So you guys got any questions on this? And if you read the book, it will be more clear to you. Yeah. Okay. Then thank you. Thank you for your time. I hope this was useful. Yeah. 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 Thank you. Mhm. Yeah, I planned it for half an hour, but I did not know it will go this deep. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. 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 You just invest. We are just investing time to save to get more returns in future. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. What is it? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Hmm. 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 Okay. Okay. Now we can switch to Kannada. I'll stop sharing. Sorry, I'll stop. Yeah, record first.